I'll do. This one is original blue sky thinking. So, right, know the ways to resist the system, the light of this world. Understand the light of this world is a chopping blade, a legal chopping blade, to keep you bound in its bind of capitals, block capitals that is, and signature. So, for instance, if you have children, don't birth certificate them. What you want to do is ask for the copy of the medical record of that birth that the midwife, the nurse or the doctor records in, probably usually the midwife. This will last for about 25 years, maybe longer. But watch the sleight of hand when basically the midwife, doctor or nurse comes back with a birth certificate. It's a different thing. So that's when you're basically being owned by the royal family of this country or any government of any other country. That's the sleight of hand. So it's a different thing. The medical record is different from your birth certificate. The medical record again is basically of the first estate of the industry, not the second class system or governance that's coming basically hijacking it as if it's all normal. And the condition where you think it is normal, it's not. It's a sleight of hand, it's a trick. Now you're legally owned if you go birth certificate, but you're not legally owned if you just basically get the medical records. You can ask your medical records from the system as well. If you ask them, probably take that 2 months or so, a month or so, and then basically make your own birth certificate with your partner at home. You go for Still and Same Water, mark paper, and just add the medical record attached to it, and that's sovereign enough, and official enough in your first sovereignty of the first estate. See, you use the system, don't let the system use you or take more from you that you don't want it to take from you. Understand these things. This is what basically we haven't been taught. We've been basically like conditioned not to even think and just blindly go along with things in this age of system. You need to stay firm and not get flaky when you've had the baby. They will threaten you with fines, and they're not going to basically put both parents or but one of you in jail for not basically birth certificated children when you need to be outside looking after your child, right? So don't fear them, right? And don't let them stand up to them, and don't let them sort of like intimidate you by standing down over you in their authority. Remember the day, these people are just goons working for the government in their duties, are all being paid to clock 8 hours a day. See what I'm saying? So don't be scared of it and stand up to them. More people need to do this. So they're not going to take your child off you. They've got more chance of taking your child from you when you birth certificate them. See? So another one, don't medicate for mental depression, that's double death. And then you have to legally sign yourself over basically when you take the psychiatric drugs. Now you're owned by the institutional mental institution. So it's another trapping, another false vector, another chopping blade. No? Maybe recognise that you have depression, but don't take their medical prescription. You see, the psychiatric drugs. See, take for them what you need out of it, not what they want more out of you again. See, it's the same thing. Be aware of these things. Know how to play the system. Know how to be wily. Don't marry to their temptation of a cheaper tax breaks and all the benefits they're meant to be giving you. That's a legal temptation of the system again. Real romance is not marrying, you know. I mean, have a dinner and a dance like you have with your partners. Just don't have to be doing the boring formality or being basically owned by the industry of this legal system. See? And yeah, you know, it's boring, isn't it, really, weddings? I mean, yeah, some countries are a bit more lavish and more colourful, but still, it's still just a governmental control over you. And that's what they're all trying to do, own you. Some of what you need to do basically is like legally take the system out by not getting involved in it legally. So still, if you do this, it's the best thing you could do, because the real romance is not to marry into the system. You know? That's the real resistance. This is what it means by being the children of the resurrection. You see, this is what Cupid himself, Jesus, was saying himself: come away from this world. It's understanding how to come away from this world, which I'm presenting in this vlog at the moment. You know, children of the resurrection don't marry. You see, they come away from this world. They live with each other. They just don't marry each other, because you see, in the West at the moment, in all subtlety of all things, women of the West basically usually have all the upper hand on all the fringe benefits in life, such as the custody of the child, any savings that a man may have, she can have half of it, here or there. It changes here and there, modifications. So, you know, getting too specific, but generally overall, it changes in different countries and different states, I suppose. You know, each case, but pretty much 85% of custody will always go to the woman. You see, in this case, she's either dead, absolutely too insane that she can't look after the child, or the man so well healed that he can basically cover the child support she would be paying. Yeah, there are cases where women basically may paying more, are making more in work, but you know, even if they are, you know, there's still sometimes, not all of them, are reluctant to pay back, and then basically she's making more than the man. That's not right, not for women in that certain cases, but you know, it has been known. So, you know, it's understanding these things, so making it so you're legally binding yourself in by a more contract, when in the system of this world's order, in the first estate, when it comes down to the marriage thing and ownership and stuff, you're just binding yourself even more. Without doing that, as I say, women will basically keep the child anyway, basically 85% of the time. You know. Another thing is housing. Don't mortgage if you can't. It's making it harder for people anyway. Mortgage is a death grip, a legal death grip, you know. And they're basically trying to bind you in even more than that. You know, they're making it harder for people to get a mortgage nowadays in this country, and I think other countries it's more expensive. You know, it's better to try and get a council place, you know, or basically if you're private renting, you know, just get stuff on benefits if you need to. You know, I'm all about closing down the system so it actually fails as a system in the first sovereignty. You know, so we don't need a monetary system, you see. Because this monetary order is just a Ponzi taxation scheme of legal bind, and it's just trying to basically take you down all the time and own you and enslave you. It wants your enslavement, it wants your consent. You know, it's understanding what it is to basically stay in the first sovereignty, in the first estate of life. You see? They're making their cost of living ideology harder and more expensive to live by. I mean, I could say that in this country there's meant to be at the moment a low birth certificate, a birth rate of the natives born here, due to basically the cost of living that women are basically having children at hold, because they're trying to basically, you know, be married, have a career and have a mortgage before they have a child, and because they're making it harder, you know, women are basically forfeiting basically having children. If you really want children, you're going to have to probably give up the middle class ideology and go into the council life. Like myself, I'm born council anyway, so it's no bother to me. Middle class, I sometimes, I'm not saying all of you do because it's not true, but it can be known that you can be more sort of like looking at council places as something beneath you, that you're falling down from some sort of status, and it's not, it's just a contract, you know. If you really want children, then you'll basically give up all these middle class aspirations, and if you want a child, you have a child, you know. There's nothing stopping you making a business for yourself. Is there really? Why the first 5 years when a child's growing before they go to school, you've got more time on yourself at home anyway, you know, to build a business, right? But you're ready rustically, you know. Just saying. If you've done all these things, what I'm saying, have the mortgage, you know, you are married, you have birth certificated children, you're on medication, well, now the way out for us all is don't vote in the system. Well, I said most of us, you know, 15 million of us who stop voting into the system, we are the real first on the post. All we've got to do is grow numbers. You know, question you've got to ask yourself, why is the rich so obsessed about controlling us? Anyway, if they're already rich, I mean, If I was all of a sudden by stroke of windfall was to become rich, I wouldn't be thinking, oh no, I want to become part of the deceptive order of world governance and work 9 to 5 now, I'm a multi-millionaire. I'd be off living the life of Riley. I've really got to really try and understand what's wrong with them psychologically, that they just leave people alone. They're rich, why don't you just enjoy your life? You know? It's like, what's wrong with them? You know? There's some deep, dark psychological problem in them, you know, some of them. You know, it's the only thing I do. I think it's absolutely insane, to be honest with you. It's not really a good rep for basically become rich and become part of the governmental, like, you know, system. And become part of the governance. Why? Why did you just leave it alone and just be a free man or woman and just enjoy your money if you made it in this world? You know? It's quite sad and mundane, really. You know, it tells you something about them as people. They're very mundane people, aren't they? Psychopathic and mundane. You know? Don't you think? I think. You know, and all this is survival that we've got to do in our life. It's like within the 5 years, you know, to the next general election. We're trying to, you know, maintain our lives under monetary systems. You know, they've got an agenda till Agenda 21 to Agenda 30, to Agenda 30 to Agenda 50 of fiat currency control. So all we can do is live within the 5 years. All we've got to do is basically every 4 or 5 years in your system where you've got the right to vote is not to vote. And there must be a quite a populace that stops them eventually. You know, whether that's 18 million, 19 million in this country, or whatever country's equivalency, where it gets so high that they have to concede. Because that day's coming, and all I'm putting forward is the foresight of what we're going to do with it, with a resolution in this blue sky thinking, which is a 5-step plan. 1, don't vote. Then 2, become neutral. 3, become non-monetary, clearing all debts. That's all debts, and consolidating all housing and industry or relevant duties into the first estate. And then with all these duties that are left, all the locals cover all the local duties, and we put enable a 13 by 4, that's 13 weeks by 4 people, or the 39-13, same difference, seasonal template into human resources. And in step 5, you decriminalise all drugs and have more rehab stations. This way will basically cover the main problems of the world, basically, of the 5-step plan against basically the 5-sided pyramid. You know, you could put 6 in 6 as a bracket being the legal system that will basically dissolve within it anyway, because once you remove the money and the government, the legal system of theirs will be reviewed, and you remove all these legalities that they've made to go with it anyway. You know, but yeah, the solution and our real solve between us is the seasonal template that continues to basically the trade of our daily service between us, which is the 13 weeks by 4 people. That's the thing, that's the true blue sky thinking that'll change everything. Alright? But yes, do these things.